Okay, thank you for being here today. We are going to talk about the topic of universal school lunch. So imagine this, 10 years old, your parents both work full time. You come home in the evening, your mom and dad have worked overtime, they're trying to make ends meet. Everybody comes home in a rush, and dinner is every man for himself. You grab a bowl of cereal, everybody goes to bed. The next morning when you get up, your parents have to be out to work. They have to go, they have to get there. You get on the bus, you go to school, and you think, okay, well, I only had a little bowl of cereal last night for dinner. I'm kind of hungry. You go to the cafeteria, you want breakfast, and the lunch lady tells you that your lunch bill hasn't been paid. So you can't eat today. Now, your lunch bill hasn't been paid because your parents don't have any money. Your lunch bill hasn't been paid because your parents don't love you. It's the fact that they're so constrained for time that they've forgotten to pay your lunch bill. It wasn't something that was done intentional. It wasn't something that was meant to hurt you, but it has in the long run because today you don't eat. You still go to school. You still have to function the way that you're supposed to every day, but today you just don't eat to have the fuel that you need to get through your day. So we're going to look at universal school lunch. We're going to look at how universal school lunch would prevent those types of issues from happening. We're going to check out time constraints in the families, working poor, shame and division of classes, Healthy Hunger, Free Kids Act, and the general National School Lunch Program in itself. Healthy benefits, healthy habits, and the benefits of school lunch. So, time constraints. Most parents work full time. Whether you're a single parent household, you are a two-parent household, most parents work full time. Because in this day and age, we have to, in order to afford what we need to give our kids a good life, or what we need to give ourselves a good life, which would be a comfortable home, some form of transportation, and whatever food is needed every day. Working poor or nearly poor. So the working poor and nearly poor are families that are between 100% and 120% of the poverty line. So according to the National School Lunch Program guidelines, families, in order for them to be a part of the National School Lunch Program, they have to be within 130% to 185% of the poverty line. So there is a difference of 5% between families that are not eligible and families that are eligible. So these families that are the working poor are about this far away from not having enough money to feed their children, yet they don't qualify for their children to have lunch and food all day. 14.8% of Americans fall into this category. The National School Lunch Program. So those are the folks that decided that 130 to 185% of the poverty level. It was created in 1946. In the U.S., 43% of all households qualify for the National School Lunch Program. So you think 43% already receive it, 14.8% nearly poor who basically can't, but they're making it work somehow. That's a total of 57.8% of U.S. children who could benefit from the National School Lunch Program. So that leaves us with less than half of our population of school children that aren't receiving this. So it really doesn't make sense if we have almost 60% to say that the other 40% are ineligible. So the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act, this goes along with the National School Lunch Program, and this was created in 2010 to amend the healthy requirements around school lunches. So not only are we feeding our children French fries and those tiny little pizzas that you used to eat when you were in school, now we're giving them choices like apples, salads, lettuce, things out of the food pyramid that they're supposed to have in order to build healthy habits for the rest of their lives, so they don't grow up to be obese, out of shape, have the same health issues that we've seen in the past generations. The health benefits are that the Farms to School benefits communities as well as school-age children. So Farms to School kind of goes along with the Healthy Kids Act that was brought in 2010. So what this does is it sends children, it gives schools the opportunities to buy from farms whatever surplus that they have, bring it into the schools, serve it to the children, and then the children also get the opportunity to visit farms in the area to try foods that they've never tasted. So when you think back to those families that are nearly poor, Those children probably couldn't afford a Honeycrisp apple or fresh Brussels sprouts. Those things are expensive when we think about buying fresh produce at a store. They're very expensive. So in order to give our children the options of trying these things rather than soda, cookies, processed food that we normally find in a grocery store, this was created along with the Healthy Kids Act in 2010. So in 2015, the initial grant for this Farms to School program was $5 million. That's 0.0003% of the USDA budget. It's how little of the budget they've used for this. It covers 42% of the school districts in the United States at $5 million. But there is a surplus of money in order for us to be able to use this for the rest of the school districts in the United States. Shame and division of classes, which is actually the worst part of the entire free lunch. And that deals with children identifying themselves and others with free lunch as poorer than their fellow students. So ultimately, there's a stigma that leads to a life of reduced self-esteem based on the stigma that's given to them at a young age. So we're starting these children into school. And as if we don't have enough issues with bullying currently, we're putting these children into school and we're saying, okay, well, you have less money than everyone else, so we're going to give you free lunch. So automatically that's going to single you out to all of your friends that you have less than they do. And with that, students would rather go hungry than to let their friends know that they received free lunch. Because they don't want their friends to know that they're poor. They don't want their friends to know that their family doesn't have enough money to pay for their lunch. So rather than eat, they would rather go without. So the benefits of a universal school lunch program gives children the freedom to choose what they eat, what they want to eat. In the universal school lunch program, they can get a salad or they can get hot food. They have options, healthy options, in order to guide them through their day and make a decision about what it is that they want to eat, whatever's best for them at that point. There's no shame in eating breakfast and lunch. No shame. You don't have to walk in behind your friend and the lunch lady says that you get free lunch, so you don't have to, once you give her your lunch number, she's not going to tell you that you get free lunch. Nobody knows where anyone else stands within division of classes. Under Universal School Lunch through the New York City Department of Education in 2015 and 2016, 60% of middle school students ate lunch versus 40% previously. 45% of high school students versus 30%, and 80% of elementary students versus 70% prior to the change. So when we think about universal school lunch, the benefits really do outweigh whatever money we would have to put into it. Not only do they benefit the students and they benefit what the students are eating, but they also benefit communities and farms that supply this food to the schools. Thank you.